Welcome back to Benny's Custom Works, proudly supported by Valvoline and Sparesbox. Don't forget BCW5 on checkout. This week we're back on the Falcon Ute. We're pretty much going to finish up the performance modifications on this thing today. We've got a Process West intercooler kit. We've also got a resonator delete for the intake. And to finish it up, we've got a full Manta exhaust system. I've actually gone for the Manta system because in my opinion it's probably one of the better made systems out there. They're also made in Australia as opposed to being a Chinese import thing, so that's pretty cool in my opinion. Still being able to make stuff in Australia in 2022 is cool. There's not a lot of local manufacturing out here anymore, so do try and support local stuff when we can. But enough politics, let's get into it. Oh! Hold the hook all the time. This is clearly not the right tool. If you've got a better tool than this, tell me in the comments. Now I've come to the point where we've completely stripped all of the original intercooler kit, and we've also actually taken the intake system off as well to gain more room, and also because we're going to change a lot of it anyway. So now we've got to start fitting the kit up. The first thing with this Process West kit is these two brackets, which actually relocates the power steering cooler. It seems pretty well thought out, and they've supplied a lot of little extra stuff, such as these brackets and also new radiator mounts. They must reposition the radiator further back to give a bit more room for this step cooler. But yeah, from what I can tell so far, you don't actually cut the car at all, which is pretty nice really, being that these things are starting to go up in value. They're not the $5,000 slappers they used to be. So yeah, not actually hacking your car up, I think is a pretty good thing. And also, if you do engineer your car, or if you're kind of going to go down that route, cutting the car up is obviously a no-no as far as engineering goes. So yeah, massive win by not having to cut the car up to fit the cooler. But we're going to throw these brackets in. We've got all of our cooler piping in. I really like to mock it all up with these kits before you use any clamps, purely because you kind of always got to tweak the way it runs. And it's also good to see the layout before you're trying to actually do the final fit. Also, it's worth installing other parts that are kind of pretty close to the cooler piping itself in conjunction with it before you go tightening any clamps up. So with that in mind, now we're actually going to fit the turbo resonator delete on the driver's side to make sure that it all clears that cooler piping before buttoning it all up. But yeah, pretty much the process from here now is chuck all the hose clamps on it, screw it all together, put the intake back on, then we're going to dive into the exhaust. We've finished all of our cooler piping and intake. It's all back in the car now. So now we're going to dive onto the exhaust. Basically, we're going to take the heat shield off and then just strip the whole thing out from the bottom side, more or less. I may or may not take the dump pipe off from the top side. I'm not sure yet. I haven't done one in the car before, so I think we're all going to learn together, but that's part of the fun, so let's keep on going. Make sure you unplug your oxygen sensor from the top. We've got the full exhaust system off the car. This is the sort of job that can either take half an hour or 4 hours. Luckily for us, everything actually came undone really well. Most of the issues normally are around the dump pipe area, and we have actually had that off pretty recently when we put the new engine in. So that was the only thing that kind of could have slowed us down. The other issue actually that we've just now noticed is that the Haltech wideband sensor is actually seized into the dump pipe. So I think I'll probably just put a new oxygen sensor in it. For two reasons really. One, because it's probably going to get damaged trying to remove it from that, and the second reason is it's had that sensor in it for a while and it still works, but I mean a new oxygen sensor is actually not going to hurt, or a new wideband sensor I should say isn't going to hurt before you go for a tune. So yeah, all of these things together will definitely make for a better car in the end. I've actually also upped the fuel pressure as well. A lot of guys kind of said in the comments when we put our information up, putting the engine in, that it should have 58 pound base pressure. So we have done that. I'll probably muck around with the Haltech settings again to just get that happy. But yeah, we're just going to keep on trucking, and now we're going to unpack our new exhaust system. My knees are on fire. Hashtag fire knees. My knees are on fire. The moment of truth, we've got our full Manta exhaust system on the car. Let's fire it up. I'm not worried, but I don't want a droney Falcon because they do sound horrible. Sorry, internet, they don't sound great. So we're going to fire it up and see what it sounds like. It almost sounds standard. I was trying to spool it up and see if it'd go. Well, another cracking day on the Falcon. It's a different animal now. It sounds still quite subtle, but a lot deeper of a tone. The intercooler and the intake's sort of woken it up a little bit. It's got much more of an intake noise now, which is kind of what I was looking for. The usual old thing, you play around with your standard daily, and now here we are. But yeah, pretty happy with the outcome so far. So yeah, next episode we're going to be out at Haltech tuning this thing on the dyno with Scotty. So pretty keen to see what happens. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.